Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special live stream. I've got Whiskey here. We are going to go super in depth tonight into territory battles. We're going to do it in a way that is simple. We're going to give notes, and we're going to walk through this entire process from start to finish. How you make decisions as a leader, basically what you need to do as a player. How we make our decisions, what math to do, all of that. I think we're going to cover a pretty good swath of all of that, if not everything. Well, thank you for joining me tonight, Whiskey.
Thank you. Hello, fellow nerds.
Fellow nerds. Okay, so just as a start before we start the presentation or whatever we want to call it, I want to say that this video is for everybody, for all guilds. What we want to talk about tonight is literally SOP, standard operating procedure. How to go into this, how to look at it, what to plan for. So, yeah, let's start there. So we're going to start in platoons. Excellent. So, in platoons, we give me 1 second. So in platoons, the first question is why do we do platoons first? You want to answer that one for us, Whiskey, and then we'll go through the list?
Okay, so the important thing about doing platoons first is becomes primarily important in phases 5 and 6, which is when the platoons are going to affect the stage you're on. So more than anything, we want to create a good habit. We want everybody getting used to getting them done first so it doesn't become chaos at the end of the territory battle. Those combat bonuses are very, very important. It's the way we're going to be getting extra stars in 5 and 6. They get a lot harder when we get there. And it's also just a good way to keep things organized. As we get into later levels, especially, we have a lot of problems with them requesting tunes that you might be used to using on your teams, tunes that we have very few of. We might not be finishing all of the tune. And the more time that we get to spend in the beginning making sure that it's organized right, the better it's going to be for everybody.
That's right. That's right. So I think you hit on almost all of our major topics for tonight. So have you gotten? So let's start just from the beginning. So combat bonuses. The who, what, when, where, why behind combat bonuses. When is that important, and when is it? And why do we want them before we attack?
Well, for the first 4 phases, it's going to be important for the next phase. It doesn't affect you until 1 in phase 5 and the rest in phase 6 on the immediate day. It always transfers over to the next phase. When you look at the top of the platoon section, you'll actually see it'll tell you what phases or what zones it's going to be affecting when you get there. As for why, if you guys completed a territory battle last week and you got to phase 6, you saw what things like that orbital bombardment can do to you. And we definitely need those bonuses to make it through.
I 100% agree. 110% agree. Sorry, I'm working on a thing really quick. Excellent. So the next thing on here is good habits. So obviously in 5 and 6, we have those combat bonuses that are going to affect us immediately inside of that phase. So the good habits that we're trying to create is for people to literally just get used to doing platoons first. So if you take an hour, for the Sith, we've decided that we're going to call combat missions. But maybe in your guild, you want a 2-hour window for just platoons, and you want but set it up. Realize that combat bonuses are important, especially in phases 5 and 6, but not so much in the other ones. So it depends on how you want to build those habits inside your guild. The next thing is organization of resources. So I am currently trying to pull it up right now, but SWGOH Squagaga, La Squagaga, has released a new tool that is a blessing. If you haven't found it yet, message us on Discord, shoot us a text on the chat. We'll get back with you. Basically, what it is a ability to search your guild for what units they have. It's amazing. So we want to organize our resources to say, if we do platoons first, and we say only do platoons 2 and 4, that's huge. Okay, so everything about the territory battles should be done very, very, very specifically. Now, I will state that if you are a guild that is not completing everything, I highly, highly, highly recommend looking at the Squagaga and figuring out exactly what it is that you need to do in order to be better acquainted with that. So, finally, when in doubt, ask an officer. So, what I'm going to say about this is very, very, very simple. If you have a question at all, any question, what should you do? It's a trick question, Whiskey.
Ask an officer.
Okay. If you're not exactly sure what you should do, what should you do?
Ask an officer.
Perfect. Platoon missions are 1,000 times easier. If all you do is when in doubt, yeah, ask an officer. I'm not trying to be callous or harsh, but the officers spend a lot of time trying to make your gameplay better. So, you respecting that is kind of a big deal. Okay. The next step. Combat missions. Combat missions are extremely important. They are probably the most important part of the entire gameplay. The first reason for this is very, very, very simple. If all 50 people do all of the combat mission, you get 2 stars in every single wave. If you have 50,
or at least very close. We're not 100%.
We're not 100%, but it's with close. Well, I'm figuring with the deployment that happens with the platoons playing, you're over 2 stars.
Right.
Okay. So if we know, for example, that our guild 3-starred the top and 2-starred the bottom our last run. So we know that our goal for this run is to 6-star tomorrow. It's a big deal to us. So what we plan on doing is doing only combat missions, focusing every single person. All 50 people should all act and should all attack in this combat mission. That does not mean they have to put their top tier team in there. It does mean that we want them to have the goal of finishing every single wave. You want to add on that at all? For why we're doing that?
It's very important to focus on the south missions first because the south zones cost less resources. Getting to the 2nd and 3rd stars in the south zone is a higher priority than getting them in the middle zone because it costs less. It helps you see where your shortcomings are for getting to that 3rd star in the middle zone if you're not there, 2nd star.
Correct. That being said, that does not mean what we want you to do is push us over by deploying into the south zone.
Right. Don't ever do that. I'm just going to cap us off to the 2nd star thing. It looks like a good idea, but in the long run, it can very potentially screw us over on getting a 2nd or 3rd star in the middle zone.
Especially when we get to a point when we're on day 3, 4, 5, 6. So getting in those good habits, which is the standard operating procedure that we're trying to inform you guys about, is really, really, really important. Okay, next. Okay, so while you're running your bottom mission, okay, on all of them, on every single one of these missions, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to show you, there is only one point-giving combat mission, okay? Every other mission is not point-giving, so there is no second one in that phase. In this phase, there's literally one combat mission. Finally, in this one, there's only one paid combat mission. What we need is for all 50 members to complete as much of that as possible. If you are not capable or you failed to do every single one of the waves, we need to know. And the reason we need to know is so that we can, especially for the next little bit, for Whiskey and I, We are trying to find out and gain information on this raid. If you complete it with if all 50 people complete all 8 waves, we should have 2 stars and be well on our way to our third. Would you like to add to that point before we go on to special missions?
No, I'm ready to go on.
Okay, special missions. All missions after this bottom wave are done, in my opinion, I'm calling special missions. Yes, I do realize that there are Leia Organa shards in this territory, or that there are free coins in this mission, and in a couple of the others. I believe up here there's another free coins too. Those are very important. We want everybody to finish those that can possibly finish them. At the same time, we want everybody to finish every combat mission, or at least participate in every combat mission that they are capable of participating in. And we want them to do it as early as they can after platoons are released. Correct?
Yeah. Now, when we're talking about special missions, we also want to include into this list the combat missions that have specific character requirements.
Correct. Well, don't ever put your special character requirement somewhere else. Finish them. If it's just rebels, or if it's light, like this one is just light side, we still want you to participate in every mission that you can. This is when we call a priority, which is how we do it in our guild. We say priority bottom. In fact, that's just standard operating procedure from now on. Priority bottom. What we mean is we want all 50 people participating in that combat mission. Okay, next. The next
Realistically,
point.
any missing stars that you have as you go, the stronger your guild gets, the missing stars should be filtering their way to the center. Those will be the ones that you fill in as you go.
Correct. Correct. I think that that's a really good point. Basically, you want a 3-star all the way down the bottom, if you can. Or 2-star. Honestly, this is for everybody. So it's not just about getting full stars.
Right.
If you
Absolutely.
focus your entire guild into the bottom mission, that you are going to be more likely to reach that 3rd star, or that 2nd star, or that 1st star in that bottom mission, or in that bottom platoon, or that bottom territory, than you will in the middle. What we're calling middle is the 2nd. Here, in this case, it's ion cannon, but in the rest of the battles, it is middle. So rear trench, forward trench, those are all what we're calling middle. And bottom is what we're calling the maps with 1 combat mission that gains points. Okay. So now that we're off of that point, let's get into the last one. The fact that it matters. Okay, so it matters. Even if you don't believe you can finish more than one wave of a battle, you should still participate. You're still going to get your combat deployment. You're still going to get your deployment points for the team that you play with. And there's a likelihood that you can add bonus points to the rest of the guild. So even if you don't think you can finish it, you should.
Even if you're throwing in a dirt team.
Yes, even if you're throwing in a dirt team. Give me 1 second.
And yeah, while we're on this point, something very important to notice when you are putting together your teams is that for the most, I believe all the way down the bottom row, is the only requirement is light side characters. But when you look in the middle row, a number of the requirements for combat mission are rebels only. So you want to think about that when you're setting your teams. If you're going to be using an Ewok Elder, you need to use them in the bottom run. You don't want to throw out a full team of rebels because it's your priority mission and then realize that you have nothing to throw at the middle.
Correct. 110% correct. Okay, so let's go to deployment. Standard operating procedure states that the next thing that we want to do is deployment. So deployment. Why do we do deployment, Whiskey? That is my first question to you.
Deployment fills in all the cracks. It covers all the gaps. Deployment is how you will get your 3rd stars. Deployment is the last step to everything you can get.
Correct. So why do we not do deployment right away? I mean, you and I could probably take a pretty good guess of how much deployment needs to go where. Why do we not let people just do it and then ask people at the end of the day to fill in the gaps?
we need to have the deployment available to account for mistakes, for waves that couldn't be fully completed, for people who possibly were not able to play today. We can guess and get kind of close to what's going to happen, but we can never be all the way sure.
Okay, so the one of the things that I stated in the notes here is that saving deployment is important. You personally, saving deployment is important because you can literally, and we have had it happen, where it was literally so close that one person's deployment would have mattered.
Yes, we did.
And if one person had not put it into this one location and put it in a different location, we would have gotten an additional star. So saving your deployment is important. Now, that being said, I am going to put a caveat on this. We are not all playing this game 24 hours a day. I understand that. And Whiskey understands that. And your guild leader understands that. And guild leaders, you need to understand that they're not going to wait until midnight to deploy their troops. At some point, there's a last time that you log on the game. You need to acknowledge when that last time is and communicate with your officers. So, that
we've had people message us last week being like, "Hey, look, I'm probably not going to be able to get back on today." And we step back and we go, "Okay." We look at everything going on, and we've given them the okay to deploy.
Okay, so as a general rule, this is not. I feel bad saying this because we're going to have players on here who are going to take this as standard operating procedure. Standard operating procedure states, as a fact, that you should not deploy until you've talked to an officer. Let's just make that clear.
Yes.
But if you are not able to get in contact with an officer, you are usually safe deploying south. That is a note to the officers as well. If in doubt, you can deploy them south early. That being said, this should not be counted as standard operating procedure. I do feel like that caveat has to be made, though, that if you are not able to get in touch with an officer, that is where you should deploy. Do you agree with that statement?
I do.
Okay.
As a last ditch resort.
Last ditch. If you are in the Sith and you deploy early and I send you a message and you're capable of answering it and don't have a reason that you deployed early, or I don't have a message or there's not something posted, that's an issue.
I think it's a safe bet in the Sith and our guild that if that starts costing us stars, you're going to quickly see it implemented into our strike system.
Correct. So I don't want that to happen at all. What I want is for
I.
everybody to enjoy the game. But when in doubt, that is a final last ditch resort. Okay. So deployment's done. Oh, the fun, right? Okay, one last screen that we want to share with you guys, and then we're gonna jump onto our normal live stream. We're gonna do all that. It's gonna be awesome. I hope everybody joins us. If you're watching this at a later time, feel free to join us then, and we have a blast. We love it when new people come on. Okay, so let's talk about players. Not about players. Let's talk to players. Okay, couple of things that we want you guys to know. First of all, in the Sith, especially, but I know in all guilds, just mainly because I've run one of these already, running territory battles is not a stressless thing. Your leaders are putting in a significant amount of work, checking on your stuff, taking time out of their day, taking time away from their families to make sure that you have the most fun and you get the most out of your runs during the day. So, that being said, respect the fact that they are doing so much work, and all we're asking you to do is participate in an orderly and timely fashion. And I really want you to understand. I'm not saying that because I want people to feel sorry for us or whatever. I love doing this, but it's very difficult when people go out of order for us to keep track of everything in our heads that goes on with these territory battles. You got something to add to that point before we move on to the next one?
Oh, I think that's pretty good. You're right about exactly how. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes work going on, guys. I got to tell you, last week there's a good chance Antag talked to me more than he talked to his own wife.
No, I definitely talk to you more than I talk to my own wife. I mean, we streamed almost every night. We talked all the time, all day on chat, and honestly, I mean, there's a reason we're doing one major stream to teach you guys how to do this because I want to save my marriage. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
that serious, but you know what I mean. Okay, the second point here is listen to instructions. Whether you use Discord or you use Line or use whatever, listen to instructions. They're not difficult. What we normally call out in our guild is what platoons, what the priority is. Standard operating procedure for our guild is priority is always south. I hope after this video you agree with us that priority should always be south, but listen to instructions. Maybe your guild leader wants to try something new. Maybe he's seen a video where if you go north first and you go 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, or you go 3 stars top and he wants to push that and that's his plan, then all you can do is just listen. Just pay attention. Be part of the conversation. Okay. Do you have anything to add to listen to instructions?
No, I think you pegged it.
Perfect. Finally, to reiterate, when in doubt, ask an officer. If you're in my Discord, meaning the Nerd Tactics Discord, which you can find a link to in the description, I'll add it. Please, ask me. I'll tell you. If you're a leader and you have a question, we want to help. But, that being said, when in doubt, ask one of your officers. They will tell you exactly what it is that you need to do to make it to that next level. You got anything to add to that one before we close this up, Whiskey?
Ah, you pegged it, man. We're here to help. We really want to help everybody.
That's right. We really do. We really care about what you guys, how much enjoyment you guys get out of all of this.
We want to see y'all running around with your Hermit Yodas.
Mainly pro tag, because we want them to shut up about it. And release like 8 videos so that you guys can see how cool Hermit Yoda is, apparently. But, yes, everybody, we want you guys to have fun. If you got questions, shoot us a question. We're happy to answer. We don't always have the answers, but videos like this that are the exclusive, we want to share it with you guys. These videos are going to start coming out more. I know I'm bringing on people to talk about mods. We're going to start talking about stuff like this, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So, until then, you guys, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and join us on our stream tonight in about 5 minutes.
Thanks, everybody.